Welcome back, everybody. The Hardline continues for a Monday. 1-877-Newsmax. 1-877-Newsmax. We want to hear from you this evening because we have a lot of little things here. But the big thing, of course, is the New York Times article. Look, I've been in this business a long time. I read an article like that, I see the headline. I'll be honest, Sunday mornings, I pick up the New York Times. It's one of the many newspapers that I grab on Sunday mornings, and that's the first one. I go to it, I see this headline, I start reading it, and I keep going like this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Because whether you love or hate Donald Trump, it doesn't make a difference. If you're reading something like this, you want to read something substantive. So what is the New York Times thinking at this point? This is a garbage article, quite frankly. It's not even salacious to the point where it's entertaining. It's boring, as a matter of fact. There's very little that's really in it. If you're going to go after Donald Trump, go after Donald Trump. Go after Hillary Clinton. Go after Bernie Sanders. Get some meat to the damn thing, will you? Stop sitting out there and just throwing out pages and just trying to make it. And again, I hate to use this phrase. I hate it when people say it's a hit job, because everybody says that when they say, well, it doesn't make me look good. It's not a hit job. It's just bad reporting. That's really all it winds up to be. 1-877-Newsmax. We got more to talk about in there. However, before we get to the phone lines, let's do this. This is graduation season. This is where you get all the big guns come out. They spend time talking to those young, fresh faces that are trying to get out into the world, more or less trying to think of where am I going to find a job these days. And this graduation season, there is a theme here that's gone through this. It is one side of the political cycle that is trying to remind the students how much they should dislike Donald Trump.
Suggesting that we can build an endless wall along our borders and blame our challenges on immigrants. That doesn't just run counter to our history as the world's melting pot. It contradicts the evidence that our growth and our innovation and our dynamism has always been spurred by our ability to attract strivers from every corner of the globe. That's how we became America.
Every generation has had to confront its own demagogues, and every generation has stood up and kept them away from the White House, at least so far. And now it is your turn.
Classmates of every race, religion, gender, shape, size, 85 countries represented, and dozens of languages spoken. You are the most diverse class in Northeastern's history. In other words, you are Donald Trump's worst nightmare.
I never imagined I would visit foreign countries. I never imagined I would be a commencement speaker. I never imagined I would get into a Twitter war with Donald Trump.
In politics and in life, ignorance is not a virtue. It's not cool to not know what you're talking about.
You can say whatever you want, but actually ignorance is not a virtue. That's a pretty smart thing to say. I know. You're going to say that you don't like Barack Obama right from the outset, but when you think about that, whether it's right, left, or whatever else, ignorance is not a virtue, which means that everybody in America needs to not be ignorant about what is happening in this country right now and what they are going to do about it. 1-877-Newsmax. Rich from White Plains, New York. You're first up here on the Hardline. Good evening, Rich.
Thanks for taking my call, Ed. While the New York Times article may be anecdotal or a one-off, the larger fact is that recent and past polling consistently shows that about 75% of all women, Republican, Democrat, Independents, have an unfavorable view of Donald Trump. And while African American and Hispanics represent 12 and 13% of the population, respectively, of which Trump also has huge unfavorables, women represent 50% of the voters, which is a big problem.
But see, here's the one thing I believe the New York Times got wrong in all this. They lead off an article with a young lady who used to date Donald Trump for 3 months. So it's not as if she's going to come out and say anything really negative about him. She wound up on the morning shows this morning. Here's the other thing. If you look into the article, there are a couple of things in here I think that people would find rather creepy. And let's be very honest about it. I'm not going to go ahead and just play one side here. When they talk about Temple Taggart, the 21-year-old Miss Utah, who claims that Donald Trump kissed her directly on the lips when he was married to Marla Maples. And she said, "Oh my God, gross." I mean, there's something there that people could find possibly creepy. And let's also talk about the 1997 Miss Teen USA pageant, where he turned to Miss Universe at the time and asked for her opinion on his daughter's body, where he said, "Don't you think my daughter's hot? She's hot, right?" And according to Miss Universe, she said, "I was like, really? That's just weird. She was 16. That's creepy." It's something that he has said before on network television. I believe he said it on The View, where he was basically intimating the same thing. But this is not as if this is really anything new. Don't you think that the New York Times or anybody would spend more time, if you want to, write a piece and tell people about something that's not really new? This has really just been out there for quite some time. I don't think it shocks anybody, let's put it this way, Rich. And I think people who believe in Donald Trump, they're going to read this article and they're going to say, crap, throw it away. It's nothing new. Let's move on. I'm still going to vote for my guy because it's all just a quote-unquote hit piece. Yes?
Yes, you're right, Ed. The New York Times article is no smoking gun per se. It's just one small piece of the larger picture that is Donald Trump, which is, like I said, if you're unfavorable with 75% of women, it's got to be for more than just a couple of reasons.
It has to be for a reason, and I'm also going to say this. Rich, thanks a lot for the call. We'll talk to you again. 1-877-NEWSMAX. I want to make this point, too. Look, if you're going to go after Donald Trump this way, hey, New York Times, hey, Washington Post, hey, Chicago Tribune, Los Angeles Times, go after Hillary Clinton the same way. Go after Bernie Sanders the same way. Go after everybody else. Because if you're supposed to be journalists, then damn it, be journalists. Go after everybody. Don't just go after one individual. It doesn't make a difference that that individual right now is leading for one party. Go after everybody. Make it fair and then make it stick. Then maybe we'll have a tremendous amount of responsibility, and also we'll look at you and say, nice job. But if you just do one, that's not journalism. That's something else. Alan from Fresno, California joins us here on the Hardline. Good evening, Alan.
Hey, how you doing, Ed?
I'm doing well. I'm doing great. I'm looking better every day. Go ahead.
Hey, Ed, I think they should go after Bernie Sanders and Mrs. Clinton like they do Mr. Trump. And that's 100%. I'm voting for Mr. Trump. And I got to... Hello?
We lost you there. Go ahead. 15 seconds. Finish up, Alan.
And I figure we should keep the Mexicans in where they're working at, because no one else doesn't want to go out there in the field and work.
Oh, come on, Alan. You were on such a nice run here, and all of a sudden you made it all about Mexicans. Thanks a lot for joining us, Alan. 1-877-NEWSMAX. Come on, people. Be real. Be serious. Stay on point here, for crying out loud. Don't roll off in something ridiculous like this. If you want to sit here and talk about the issues, talk about them. But don't insult me and don't insult other people's intelligence, okay? 1-877-NEWSMAX. It's got to be a Monday, you can tell. Sherry from Fairbanks, Alaska is up next. Sherry, thanks for joining us on the Hardline.
Hi. I just want to say that I'm sure...
This always happens from Alaska. I tend to feel it's something to do with Alaska. We're going to have to launch an investigation here. Sherry, you're going to have to try back again. Sorry about that. 1-877-NEWSMAX. I'm telling you, it happens from Alaska. Helen from Warm Springs, Georgia is here. Helen, thanks for joining us on the Hardline this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
And I'm going to vote for Donald Trump.
Why?
Because you change your mind from day to day. I've seen a lot of other things. Maybe tomorrow I'll do something different than I would have done today. That's nothing to do with politics.
But you still haven't told me why you're voting for Donald Trump, Helen. I'm going to challenge you. I'm sorry. You don't get away with just making a statement here. Come on, Helen. Get into it.
I'm going to vote for him because he says what he thinks, and that's what you do. You say what you think, and people are like that. You don't
But what
go back
does that
30
mean? Helen, I'm going to challenge you here on this one. What does that mean when he says what he thinks? I say what I think, you say what you think. Why should that make us all of us? You and I can run for president then. What's the big deal with Donald Trump? He says things, but he hasn't done anything yet, politically speaking.
Well, so do I, and so do you, and so does everybody. You say things, and then you change your mind. After you see the situation, you change your mind.
So you're okay if he changes his mind? You're okay if he says that everything that he says is nothing more than a suggestion? You're okay with that?
No, not everything that he says is more than
Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. Stop. He said, Donald Trump said, What I talk about is merely a suggestion. His people even said that as well. Now, you just said that you're not happy with that, but he said that.
No, I am happy with that because that is real life. What politics,
Okay.
what has been said before is this is what I'm going to do and that's what I'm going to do, and they haven't done it.
Okay, we'll give you that, Helen. Thanks a lot for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll come back with more phone calls later in the hour. As a matter of fact, coming up next, John Gizzi's going to join us from Washington. 1-877-Newsmax. And the issue here is Donald Trump getting into a little bit of a verbal spitting contest with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom here. There's people wondering exactly, overseas, what the next president is going to do here. There's people here wondering what Donald Trump will do. But let's take it inside the Beltway now and learn a little bit more about what the people believe there and what they think foreign policy is going to look like with the Donald Trump presidency. We'll talk about that. We'll take your calls after it. 1-877-Newsmax. 1-877-Newsmax. It's a challenge, people. It's a two-way. But you got to have a take. You got to stick with it. Keeps you on the air. Keeps you going. Stay with us. The Hard Line's right back at you.